Dad would still be alive if you listened to me!
What is up everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we'll be looking into the huge plot twist at the end of the first season of Jupiter's Legacy that had most of us in shock. What led Walter to the point of seeking revenge against his brother, and were there any signs along the way that we missed? I think the development that we saw in the last episode of Jupiter's Legacy is one of the best villain reveals that I have seen in a long time. Maybe that's because I haven't seen that many hero shows lately, but come on, I think we all know it's because I have unparalleled insight to TV shows and movies. That's why you're here, and that's why you're gonna like the video and click the subscribe button. So looking back, the signs of his betrayal was being fed to us in little scraps as the show went along. When Walter and Sheldon were in their early 20s, we see them have a disagreement on the expansion of the family business that their dad Chester wanted to. While Walter thought it was a bad idea and it was not the right time to do this, Sheldon took his dad's side, saying that the market had been reliable so far, so why not? They went against Walter's wishes and eventually the stock market crashed, and unfortunately a lot of companies went under, including Chester's Steel Company, their family business. But not just that, it also became public knowledge that their dad, Chester, had used the pension of their workers to expand the company. At this point, everything went sideways, and this series of events eventually led to their dad committing suicide in front of Sheldon. Moving forward, the show focused primarily on the psychotic break that Sheldon had after this event, his hallucinations and his delusional ideas, which ended up not actually being delusional, and how it led him to becoming the utopian. And while this was happening, we didn't really get to see much of Walter and how he was coping and dealing with the death of his father. I think his feeling about the whole ordeal and his feelings towards Sheldon was only obvious when they were on the island that Sheldon led them to. And Walter wanted to leave because the journey started to look too dangerous and impossible. But the others went against him, taking Sheldon's side, so they went on. And when they were traversing the mountain, he lashed out at Sheldon, saying this:
No idea what it feels like to have no one take you seriously, even when you know you're right. Oh, this is not true, come on. Dad would still be alive if you listened to me!
I think at this point we should have started to clue into the fact that he was already starting to build or already had some resentment towards Sheldon. He blamed him for the death of their father, but not just that. His authority or respect as an older brother was never existent. Nobody listened to him, nobody took his opinion seriously, and as a result, their dad killed himself. That's a horrible feeling to have. To think if only the people around you listened to you or took you seriously, something as catastrophic as the suicide of your father could have been avoided. And to look at his brother the way he did, as Nietzsche said, resentment is a poison, and it slowly started corrupting his mind. As they went on, they had to put their differences aside in order to be able to continue the journey. And there was a key moment here when George and Walter couldn't put their hands on at the same time on the rock, and neither could Sheldon and Walter. There was ill feelings being harbored from Walter to both of them. Eventually they settled their differences, at least for that moment, and they all still got their powers. But then this brings us to the second part, which was Sheldon taking the role of being the leader and creating the code, which is basically an idealistic rule that he placed on the heroes to never kill anyone regardless of the situation. And feel free to check out my video about that. This isn't something foreign in the world of superheroes. Batman, Superman, etc. They all have this code. They believe it's the only thing that separates them from becoming the same as villains. While this is an idealistic principle, it becomes very evident in the show that it is in fact impractical, and a few characters share this sentiment, and I believe so does Walter. At this point, as much as he doesn't agree with the way Sheldon is leading the team, rather than trying to oppose him directly and lose like he always has in the past, and like he said, people always take Sheldon's side, he's trying a different tactic, which is to destroy their allegiance from within, sowing seeds of doubt in their minds so they don't trust Sheldon as much, and creating situations for them to doubt Sheldon's leadership. Which is why when I was watching this show, I kind of compared him to Loki because of how devious that he has been all along. And I don't even know if I blame him. He did try to talk to Sheldon and explain to him that times are different and they require a different approach to dealing with the criminals in today's society. But Sheldon dismisses it and is hell-bent on adhering to his principles. After seeing their friends die at the hands of criminals because of this mental shackle that the utopian has on them, It's expected that the rest of the Union will start to question the code. I believe that the next season might explore this resentment that Walter ended up developing towards Sheldon as a result of their dad committing suicide and him also taking this arrogant or stubborn attitude that he had back then when deciding on whether or not to expand the company into organizing the Hero Union and not willing to listen to anyone else's idea, not willing to take his idea as an older brother into consideration. I think this is going to be explored and we are going to figure out just how deeply rooted this feeling is for Walter. I also think that the divide between the Union and Skyfox is not as black and white as it seems. I think Walter had something to do with it. Either he created a situation to remove Skyfox from the picture because he was the only one that was truly close to Sheldon and believed in him, or both Skyfox and Walter are working together since they both might not believe in the code. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is Walter justified in his feelings for revenge and resentment towards Sheldon? Should the heroes adhere to the code regardless? Is that what truly separates someone from being good and being bad? Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to check the other videos in this series about Jupiter's Legacy if you enjoyed this one.